Hey guys, so in this video we're checking out this extremely ridiculously tiny wing from LDARC. It's called the Tiny Wing, I think. 431 millimeter wingspan, 65 grams without receiver and battery. It does come with some servers. Let's just take a closer look at it. Let's have FPV on here. I added that. That doesn't come with it, but I'll put a link down in the description for that as well. But let's just take a closer look at what's inside this thing. Okay, so in the back here we got an 1105 5000 kV motor with a 3.8 inch propeller. You do get some spares of those in case you break them. There's a little hatch area here where the battery and the flight controller is. You got some tiny servos here on the bottom with some protection so that the little servo connector isn't damaged on landings. Also some plastic pieces on the bottom also for protecting on landings, but this is extremely light, so probably not going to get damaged too much unless you are landing on concrete all the time. Okay, so under this hatch here I have a little FPV system, a little camera and video transmitter. I'll put that link to that part down below, and I'm just having off a separate one as battery on here. It's just 25 milliwatts. It should be fine when I want to do some FPV later. And I have a 450 milliamp hour LiPo battery here. It's a GNB. I'm not exactly sure if it's supposed to come with a battery or not. It's a little unclear in the specifications, but mine did not come with a battery or a receiver. I just added a small generic FreeSky S-Bus receiver here in the bottom, and that's connected right here on the flight controller. Of course, all the servers and everything and the motor and ESC are connected to the flight controller here. This does 3 modes. This has like a beginner mode, intermediate, and advanced mode. The beginner mode, it'll self-launch and it'll self-level. Should be pretty easy to fly. And then of course there's intermediate mode where you can kind of do some flips and stuff and it'll self-level. And then there's the advanced mode, which is pretty much manual mode. It's a very tight fit to get all of this stuff in here. It does close with the 4 magnets here on the hatch, and I did have to cut a little bit of foam out of here to fit this camera, but it does close up once you plug in the battery, and should be fairly secure unless of course you crash really hard. I'm going to fly line of sight first, and then I'll fly FPV second. I don't see how it flies first. I think it should be fairly predictable based on what I read, but I haven't actually flown it yet. So let's take a look at how it flies line of sight, and then we'll fly it FPV. Okay, so in terms of setup, there's not a whole lot that you have to do. I did have to reverse my aileron channel, and I did also set the rate pretty low, because this is going to be pretty twitchy as a wing. And you can see this is about as much as throw as you're probably going to need. I'm going to launch it here in this direction, this way, because the wind's coming towards me here. And that's about it. Going to arm it here. On this switch is an arm switch for channel 5, and then channel 6 is a 3-position switch for the 3 different modes. If you don't arm it, the throttle doesn't work. You can see if you arm it, then the throttle works. Okay, we'll arm it and launch it in this direction into the wind. Actually, not too bad, especially considering the wind. I think it's a little tail heavy. Took that 1S battery off the front in case it popped off in flight. There's a little bit of waggle. You're going downwind, there's a lot more waggle. So not too bad considering how tiny and light this is. The downwind's a little bit more tricky. I'm going to take it up a little bit higher. I know it's going to be hard to see. And downwind's much faster. Can't even hardly hear it, although there's a lawnmower behind me. Oh, almost hit the light pole there. Yeah, so definitely a lot of wind coming down. It's really fast downwind. Okay, so I don't know how long was back. Let's go ahead and land it. I'm gonna try the left PV. Yeah, so flying this FPV might be a little tricky. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so here's a quick FPV flight. I think I had my modes backwards on this thing. I thought I was in self-leveling or stabilized mode, but yeah, I was actually in manual mode, and I thought maybe it was just because of the strong winds it was bobbling around a lot, and it's just because I was in manual mode. So that's why it is kind of very shaky, and this is kind of what you would, I think, what you could expect under worst case conditions. Very windy. And unfortunately, I think I'm using a really old battery here. Right here at the end, the power seems to just kind of die, and the battery is actually pretty close to being dead here. So sorry, very short flight. But let me know if you guys want to see more footage of this guy in action. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.